Welcome into Sports with Balls. Happy hump day, y'all. Happy freaking hump day. Back in the mix. I'm ready for this, man. I am ready. Y'all ready? Let's get it going. Welcome to Sports with Balls, guys. I'm Jeff Michael, your host, as always, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. However you're tuning in, whether it be Instagram, whether it be live, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, on all of them, man. So thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, if y'all are getting the podcast, appreciate it. Subscribe. Let's get this thing going, man. Football season is freaking here, baby. I got my fantasy football draft coming up on Sunday, as do a lot of y'all. This is fantasy football weekend, pretty much. We're gonna get into that. Not all today. I might drop a couple of heaters today, but tomorrow and Friday, well, I'll get into fantasy football a little bit more. In fact, maybe I'll do a fantasy football special coming up on Friday. We'll see. But like I said, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we got to thank Christian's Tailgate Bar and Grill, man. Go find one near you. Go to christianstailgate.com. Place is flat out amazing. Watch the fights there. Watch the games there. Just get over there. Award-winning food. Place is freaking phenomenal. And next weekend, we've got a huge show coming in August. What is this? August 31st, I think. Katy Sports Card Show. You guys get over there. It's a free event, baby. Free. Going to be amazing. I'm going there because I'm a card and comic collector, is if you can't tell behind me. So there you go. All right, man. Look, today is Wednesday. As we do always, we're going to talk about these national holidays. The 21st of August. What do we got today? International Day of Remembrance and Tribute to the Victims of Terrorism. All right, that's a big one. National Brazilian Blowout Day. I think it's got something to do with your hair. Internet Self-Care Day. Just, man, be careful. Upcoding Fraud Day. National Senior Citizens Day, man. So take care of your senior citizens today. What else we got going on? I don't know who Alexander Cooper is, but I wouldn't mind knowing. If you know what I mean. That was terrible. Kenny Rogers' birthday today. Who else we got going on? Anything? That's it? Oh, Usain Bolt. It's his birthday today, the fastest man ever. Speaking of, since we're on Usain Bolt and his birthday, did you guys see where Noah Lyles was challenged by Tyreek Hill for the fastest man in the world? Like, come on, dude. Or to a 50-yard dash, or 100-yard dash. Oh, Tyreek, man. Just stop having babies. Let's just go there. Let's start at that point, and then we'll figure out everything after that, man. But those are your holidays for the 21st of August. We'll get into sports events this day in history later on. But let's start off in Major League Baseball. Listen, Linda. I'm not even going to sit here and pretend that I'm not an Astros fan. You guys know I'm from Houston. If you pay attention to the show, what the Astros have done even prior to the All-Star break is flat out phenomenal. They went from 10 games back, the quickest recovery of a 10-game deficit in the history of baseball, to 5 games up on the Seattle Mariners. It's absolutely remarkable. And if my math is correct, they're 5 games out of the best record in all of baseball. Now, granted, we don't have a 100-win team this year. Maybe somebody will get there, but it doesn't look like that. I think the first time it's happened since 2014. But it's not like somebody's blowing the rocks off as far as records concerned. But the Houston Astros are 68-58, 10 games above 500. And they just got Verlander back today, which is huge news for them. They're waiting on Kyle Tucker, who was at one point 3 months into the season leading the majors in home runs, above Aaron Judge. So you get him back, and you add Verlander, who, by the way, I think only gave up 2 runs in 60 pitches, something like that. Had a decent outing. Do the Astros, watch out. They're back in it. I mean, they are top 5 team in the whole league, if not top 3. It is incredible what the Houston Astros have done, and I don't see them slowing down. They're only getting healthier. Yordan Alvarez is an absolute phenom. Bregman he had a 5-game absence or 5-day absence. Came back today, hit a home run. They're putting it all together. And I always say this. I said it at the beginning of the season. I'll always say it. You got to be hot and healthy at the right time. And that's where they're going. Right at the end of October, you need to be hot and healthy. And the Astros are looking good. The Astros look absolutely phenomenal. I think their chances of getting in the playoffs now are somewhere around 90%, where if you can, it's 88.6. So if you go back to the beginning of the season, first 2 months of the season, it was easy to dismiss them and everybody jumping on the bandwagon as part of them being just a bad baseball team. Bad baseball team. They got a new manager in Espada. Everybody was dogging him. And then you go to the World Series. The Texas Rangers are 10 games out of first. Wow. 10 games under 500 as well. Unbelievable, man. Unfreaking believable. Houston Astros just kicking ass, basically. Cleveland Guardians doing their thing, 6-4 in their last 10. The New York Yankees 5-5 in the last 10. Baltimore Orioles 4-6 in their last 10. Although Boston could creep up in there, but it looks like they pretty much got a wrap on the playoffs. The Yankees and the Orioles, and the Cleveland Guardians, Minnesota Twins are only 3.5 behind them, and tied with the Kansas City Royals as well. So tight races here in the American League, especially over the wild card. Really tight races. The Astros look like they're going to take off. They've got a tough schedule coming up, don't get me wrong. But the Mariners don't have it easy. And Mariners are playing terrible baseball, 3-7 in their last 10 games. It's just a combination of the Houston Astros playing very well and the Seattle Mariners playing very, very poor baseball. So Astros are doing well. Mariners are not. There you go. And moving on to the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies 6-game lead over the Atlanta Braves. They're only 4-6 in their last 10 games. It seems like a lull period for some of these teams as far as baseball is concerned. All these good teams are sort of slacking. Brewers, on the other hand, are not. 7-3 in their last 10, 6-game winning streak. 11.5 up on the Wrigley Chicago Cubs, man. Wow. Milwaukee pretty much has that sewed up. Unbelievable. By the way, speaking of, there is already a team, the Chicago White Sox, have been eliminated from playoff contention. Detroit Tigers, Angels, Marlins, Pirates, Rockies, y'all are all next. But Brewers playing very good baseball, very quiet baseball as well. Those are teams you got to be very weary of, man. Very quiet baseball teams playing very well. It's scary. All right. And then the Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks. Listen to this, dude. The last 10 games, all three teams are 7-3 in their last 10. All three teams could win the West. San Diego Padres are only 3 games back of the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks are only 4 games back of the Dodgers. Great race out west. San Diego Padres are quiet, very quiet. I don't know who's quieter, the Brewers or the Padres, at 72-55. Wow. Get it. Baseball season is about to get balling. I love it because here comes football. Here comes baseball playoffs. We go from the worst time of the year in sports to the best time of the year in sports. And I could not be happier for baseball. Looks like it's about to jam out. And of course, look, we're all happy for football. Every single person is happy for football because fantasy football is coming up. Football season is obviously the best sport out there. So I'm just happy that baseball is getting these playoff actions coming in. I'm excited for it. So it looks like it's going to be a blast to sit here and watch. I can't wait. I will keep you updated over the next week or two as far as wild card races are going. But I love what we got going on so far. Absolutely love it. Astros are on fire. And here we go. On to everybody's favorite, the NFL, where Bo Nix has been named QB1 for the Denver Broncos. Now, when Bo Nix first came out in the draft, I said, watch out. I wanted this kid to go higher. He didn't, which is fine. But I thought this kid was something special. I thought Bo Nix could be something absolutely amazing. And sure enough, in the preseason, he looks it. He looks like Caleb Williams looks great. Don't get me wrong, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But Bo Nix looks good. Denver might have found their guy. Great job by Sean Payton, I guess, weathering the storm, if you will, with Russell Wilson and the new owners and whatever it is. But now Sean's got his quarterback, and Denver looks good. Kevin Bauer, welcome to the show. Appreciate you tuning in. He says, go Cowboys as always. By the way, Kevin, the Cowboys, will CeeDee Lamb sign this weekend? That is the question of the week. Everybody wants to know. I don't know. He's posted some really cryptic stuff as far as social media is concerned. I don't know which direction CeeDee Lamb is going to go. Jerry Jones made some comments today, sort of backtracking because he had made some very outlandish comments prior to today about the signing of CeeDee Lamb and whether or not he would or not. So I'll keep you updated. Follow Sports with Balls, all your social media outlets. It'll all be on there. Any breaking news that comes by, of course, I will throw it up there. Kevin says CeeDee will be signed by Friday. I tend to agree with you. I think he'll stay there. It's not the Brandon Ayuk situation at all. CeeDee's way better than that. And Brandon, by the way, I said this last week on the show, idiot if you're going to go anywhere. Like, you're a moron. You are really with a Super Bowl contending team, and you want to that's going to pay you great money, and you want to go take $1 or $2 million more to go play on a bad team. Probably not the best move. But we'll see. CeeDee Lamb has apparently talks are ongoing and going better than they were the last couple of weeks. So we'll see, man. And it's not just CeeDee Lamb. All right, we're all waiting. Dak's got to get a big one. We know that. Micah's got to get paid. Dallas has some issues. Dallas has some big issues. There's a couple of head coaching names that have been thrown out there. Bill Belichick being one to replace Mike McCarthy next year. And that, look, it's all dependent, right? Or maybe it's not. You never know with Jerry Jones. It's all dependent on how the Cowboys do, and that's all up to Dak Prescott if he can stay healthy. Dak Prescott stays healthy. Seems like they'll be all right, but there is a lot of personalities in that locker room. A ton of personalities to deal with if you're Cowboys head coach. Mike McCarthy has not done the best job of that. We all know that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in Dallas land, and of course, I'll keep you updated. Again, go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're all over there. Follow Sports with Balls on your social media outlets. Facebook's the fun one. Well, as of right now. Well, I think TikTok's getting pretty big too. I got like 50 more followers, and then we're going live on TikTok. Oh, Kevin wants to do a fantasy tip. If you're pick 4 through 6, Amon-Ra is your league winner. Listen, look, he's gotten a bunch of attention, but I do have some sleepers. And Kevin, I believe you're in one of my leagues, so we'll see. I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to do a fantasy football special probably either tomorrow or Friday. So I'll pick some good ones, man. Maybe on the end of the show, I will give you one good sleeper. There's some good tight ends out there. There's some good backup running backs out there. The strategies this year in fantasy football are all over the place. I saw a guy on his first 4 picks go 3 running backs and then a wide receiver, right? Like, there's all kinds of stuff. Like Jaden Daniels. You can get Jaden Daniels way late. And I just said Bo Nix is starting for Denver. You can get him way late. I don't know. A lot of people are going wide receiver heavy. And because the running back room isn't huge this year in fantasy football, a lot of people are stacking running backs early. So there's all kinds of different ways it goes. And obviously that depends on your first couple of picks in fantasy football. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've got my draft on Sunday. I've got 3 drafts on Sunday, actually. It's fantasy football weekend. So I'll get more into that tomorrow. Some other headlines from the NFL. Browns, Deshaun Watson, limited in practice with a sore arm. I'm not. All right. I'm not getting. Deshaun Watson is. I don't know where that's going to go down in the history of NFL and trades. It's up there in the top 3 as worst trades because it's not finished yet. It could be the worst in all of history. We don't know yet. Earlier, touched on Russell Wilson. He says he is playing in the preseason finale for the Steelers. And to my knowledge, we have not confirmed yet who is the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm assuming it will be Russell. That whole franchise, he's 35 years old. He's looked pretty darn good. We'll see what happens. I don't know if I'm picking anybody up from Pittsburgh. Maybe their defense. The problem, I'm going fantasy football here again, but if you're picking up Pittsburgh's defense, they might be on the field a lot. That's an issue. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I it's always fun when the Steelers are in the mix. I just don't see it this year. I don't see it at all. But, Tomlin is a monster. He's a 500 coach for sure, above 500. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. What else we got? Tua Tagovailoa had some interesting comments about Brian Flores. And, of course, we all remember Brian Flores, him trying to sue the NFL, sue Miami, some racially motivated stuff. But apparently Brian Flores really didn't like Tua Tagovailoa. To the point where Tua called Brian Flores a terrible person. Woo! And because apparently Brian Flores was telling him how bad of a quarterback he was. He would never make it in the NFL. A bunch of stuff, all kinds of stuff. And then Flores said, I'm genuinely happy for the success that Tua's had, and I really wish him nothing but the best. Quote, unquote, from Brian Flores. I'm not going to read too much into this. It is what it is. Tua is Tua. Brian Flores is Brian Flores. That whole situation in Miami was a freaking disaster. So take it for what it is. If you're a Miami fan, you're riding with Tua anyways. They're going to have an explosive offense. You hope the defense can play better. I mean, that's pretty much it. On to the hottest topic in the NFL. And, of course, his name is Aaron Rodgers. Said Jets camp's one of the most taxing he's had in many years. Well, no shit. You're hardly at it. You're probably out of shape, so we can figure that. I'm going to say something here. It's tough for me, but I'm sort of rooting for Aaron Rodgers this year. You can't tell me you don't want to see a Jets-Packers Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers against the Green Bay Packers. My goodness. And look, if you read anything, I'm not a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. I'm not personally, and his off the field stuff, but he's an absolute genius when it comes to football. An absolute freaking genius. And I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good year. I don't see why he wouldn't. His record in the playoffs is 11-10. It's barely over 500. I get it. But the guy has had some bad things happen in the playoffs. But he's also made some amazing, amazing plays. And Aaron Rodgers went from the smallest market in the NFL to the biggest market in the NFL. And, of course, 5 plays in, ruins his Achilles. And now we're back here again seeing what's going to happen. I believe Rodgers is going to have a great year. I do. I don't know how good the Jets' locker room is, because I think that there's a lot of personalities like the Cowboys in that locker room that are hard to maintain. But if he can keep it together and that Jets team comes out firing, that could be the talk of the NFL. The Jets could make a deep playoff run. I don't know how far they'll go, but man, you cannot tell me you wouldn't love to see the Jets Packers, man. Oh my gosh. That is a storyline just waiting to happen. I'm kind of rooting for Rodgers this year. Fantasy football, I don't know where I would take him. I don't know. But we'll see. What do you think the Jets are going to do? Hit me up on Facebook. Hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Let me know how many wins you think that Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets are going to get. Now, listen, there's another person involved in this whole thing, and that's Robert Saleh. I am not a Robert Saleh guy. I don't think that he's going to – I don't know if he has enough experience with especially somebody like Aaron Rodgers. And here's where you get to see the conflict, right? Robert Saleh want a play called. Rodgers like, nope, I'm doing this. And then Saleh's going to get pissed. But we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Robert Saleh is 18-33 in his first 3 seasons. Now, granted, you can throw last year's out the window because Aaron Rodgers went out in the first 5 plays. But still, 18-33. Ouch, buddy. Ouch. We'll see. Where's your team going? There's another team that's not on the hot seat. Another team, of course, me being in Houston, that I get all the time. Every time I'm out anywhere, somebody's always going to ask me about the Houston Texans. And I'll say this. Be weary, folks, right? There is tape on C.J. Stroud now, which it's nerve-wracking, right? Is there going to be that second-year regression? I don't know. I would think that there will be with the Houston Texans. You've already seen the video out with Diggs getting into it on the sideline. The thing that the Texans have going for them, right? And you hope there's no injuries, but their defense looks to be fantastic. Their defense looks to be amazing. They might only have to score 17 points a game. I'm not saying that they're not poised to do a lot more. The problem I have with the Houston Texans is it doesn't look like they're going to be able to run the ball. You can't run the ball, you're going to have major problems in the NFL. See it everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. So I'll get into the Houston Texans more and more as we get going. We got all next week before the actual season starts. We got the last preseason game coming up this weekend. We'll have all the games. And, of course, next week I'll probably have a show every day if I can squeeze one in. If not, I'll have 3 to 4. Definitely, I'm going to get a show in either tomorrow or Friday or both days the rest of this week. I definitely want to do a fantasy football thing, which I'll let you guys know. I'll post it up tomorrow or Friday, whether I'll do the fantasy. And maybe I'll split it up. Maybe I'll do offense tomorrow, maybe defense on Friday. Well, there's only a couple of defenses you can get. But we'll see with the Houston Texans. It's the CJ Stroud show. And there's tape on him. These defensive coordinators are geniuses. They're not stupid. And now you have tape on CJ Stroud. I also hate when somebody's built up this big, it generally doesn't work out in their favor, right? Like Caleb Williams. Man, the kid looks phenomenal. Phenomenal Bears fan. Bears fans are as fired up as Texans fans are. I promise you, if not more. Kid looks great. But again, we're in preseason, and you hope nobody gets hurt. Kevin says the Jets will go 8-9, looking at their schedule. We'll see. I'll go over that tomorrow as well. Let's see. Today in sporting event history. And by the way, I'll break down some more teams tomorrow. And then, of course, we'll get more into it on Friday. And then next week, we'll really dive into stuff as far as the NFL is concerned. Let's see. 1979, the Mets win a protested game against the Astros 5-0. I don't remember that. I was 2, but it seems to be a big one. Raleigh Finger becomes the first pitcher to get save number 300 on this day in 1982. There's some cricket stuff, but I'm not going to get into that. On this day in 2004, Michael Phelps wins his 6th gold medal of the Athens Olympics. Where else are we going with this? South Africa, some archery stuff. Oh, there is a ton of Olympic stuff. My Lord. Let's see. U.S. women win football gold. And football, I mean soccer. 2008 striker Carly Lloyd scores in extra time as the United States beat Brazil 1-0 to take the women's football gold medal at the Beijing Olympics. This was in 2008. Everybody remembers that when she ripped her shirt off sliding across the pitch. That was actually pretty dope. 2016, Kevin Durant scores 30, and the U.S. men's wins the Rio de Janeiro games. And in 2020, American golfer Scotty Scheffler makes a birdies on 4 of the final 5 holes to become the 12th player in PGA Tour history to shoot a 59 in the second round of the Northern Trust at TPC Boston. Obviously, he goes on to get arrested and win the Olympic gold and become #1 player in the world. Scotty Scheffler is a baller. Absolutely love that dude. All right, that's going to do it for today in sports history. All right, guys, listen, thank you for tuning in to this show. Had to jump on and get one done. Got a lot going on tonight. I will be on here tomorrow. Try to be on here Friday as well. And then, of course, next week we are going to start hitting it very, very hard. If you missed anything on the show, check out the podcast. I'll put it up right afterwards. And, of course, hungry, thirsty, want to watch the sports, go to christianstailgate.com. Find one near you. The place is amazing. And then next weekend, coming August 31st, free sports card show. You don't want to miss this. Go check it out when you can. My name's Jeff Michael. This is Sports with Balls. We'll see you tomorrow.